This video is the third in a 10-part series on the Bitcoin Standard, a book by economist Saifedean Ammous. This series includes 10 videos, one for each chapter of the book, and this video focuses on the information contained within Chapter 3. Chapter 3: Monetary Metals. Due to their difficulty to produce, their durability, and their demand, metals began to be used as money. Some metals were more valuable than others because of their relative scarcity on Earth and their durability compared to other metals. Iron and copper were poor stores of value because they are both abundant and susceptible to corrosion over time. Gold and silver, on the other hand, are much more rare and much more durable, making them better monetary metals. Gold is especially durable and thus preserves wealth across very long time frames. These metals eventually began being minted in uniform coins, branded by their weight. Gold, silver, and copper coins were used as money for around 2,500 years, from the time of the ancient Greeks to the early 20th century. Gold coins turned out to be the best form of money because gold does not corrode. Why gold? The demand for holding a good for its own sake is called market demand. Holding a good as a store of value is called monetary demand. When someone holds something as a store of value, it effectively increases its monetary demand, and the price of that good will rise. If people choose to store their wealth in materials with low stockpiles, like copper, zinc, nickel, brass, or oil, the price of that good will rise temporarily, causing people to pay more for the material and therefore obtain less of it than they would have at normal prices. In response to this increased demand, the producers of that material will increase production, making the price quickly drop, robbing the savers of their wealth. The net effect of this process is to transfer wealth from the savers to the producers of the commodity they purchased. In order to prevent this cycle, savers need to choose a commodity that has a large stockpile compared to annual production, meaning a high stock-to-flow ratio, and does not corrode. The commodity that best fits these properties is gold, which is why it has historically been the best store of value over time. Gold is also impossible to synthesize chemically, and so it can't be created artificially. This all means that the existing stockpile of gold is the product of thousands of years of production and is orders of magnitude greater than the new annual production of gold. The growth rate of gold supply has been relatively steady over the past 70 years, at around 1.5%. This is the lowest of any monetary metal, and is the reason it has held its monetary role throughout history and continues to hold it today. The high stock-to-flow ratio of gold makes it the commodity with the lowest price elasticity of supply, meaning it takes a very large increase in supply to move the price higher by a very small amount. Roman Golden Age and Decline. Julius Caesar, the last dictator of the Roman Republic, created the aureus coin, made of 8 grams of gold. This created economic stability for 75 years until a successor, Emperor Nero, began the practice of coin snipping, in which he would have the coins reminted into coins containing less gold or silver. Under successive rulers, the precious metal content of the coins began to be further reduced until only traces of the metals were used. This caused widespread inflation of prices, combined with artificial price ceilings, or price limits imposed by the leaders, making it unprofitable to produce goods and food. This caused a standstill in production. Coin clipping reduced the coin's value, which increased the money supply, allowing overspending, resulting in inflation and crises, causing more coin clipping to pay for more spending. This slowly led to the Roman civilization dispersing into populations of farming peasants scattered in isolation into the countryside, out of the cities, and eventually becoming serfs living under feudal lords. Byzantium and the Bezant. The Byzantine Empire, also known as Byzantium, outlasted the Roman Empire, surviving for 1123 years. Their currency, the solidus, was a gold coin that has since changed names to the Bezant and the Islamic dinar. It was not debased or coin-clipped, and is still in use today. The Renaissance. During the medieval times, peasants in Europe used copper and bronze coins as money, which was easily debased and proved to be a terrible store of value. The adoption of sound money began in Florence, Italy, in 1252, with the adoption of the florin, a coin which contained 3.5 grams of gold. The florin was in use for hundreds of years, leading to an unprecedented flourishing in Europe. The important role of sound money to the development of the Renaissance is often underappreciated. Isaac Newton, who was also the manager of the Royal Mint in England, adopted the gold standard in 1717, which is why England had economic supremacy in the region. This led to many other European nations adopting the gold standard. This chart shows the price of gold in terms of silver. This shows that silver is losing its value relative to gold over time. Because of this, countries like China that adopted the silver standard lost much of their wealth to countries on the gold standard. La Belle Époque. A case can be made that the second half of the 19th century, particularly after 1871, saw an unprecedented prosperity in Europe, unmatched in the world since, largely because of a uniform gold standard. Most major European countries adopted the gold standard during this time. Some of the most important technological, medical, economic, and artistic achievements were made during this time, which partly explains why it was known as the Belle Époque, or the Beautiful Era. Be sure to watch the next video in this 10-part series, which will summarize Chapter 4 of the Bitcoin Standard. Chapter 4 is entitled Government Money, and it explains why countries moved away from the gold standard and into the fiat standard, resulting in hyperinflation and disastrous economic outcomes. Please like, subscribe, and check out the next video.